They shredded millions of books to build a chatbot. They called it Project Panama. Somewhere in a warehouse, a worker feeds a book into a hydraulic cutting machine. The blade comes down, removes the spine, and the pages separate. They go into an industrial scanner, one after another. When they come out the other side, the original is discarded. What remains is a digital file. This process is repeated every working day for millions of books. The company running this operation called it Project Panama, and their own internal documents said, in writing, that they did not want it to be known that they were working on this. This is not a theory. It is not a rumor from a disgruntled employee. It is a description of a documented practice drawn from court filings that became public in January of this year, and from reporting that has since been confirmed by multiple outlets including Forbes, The Washington Post, Futurism, and 404 Media. Today I want to walk you through exactly what happened, how it became public, and what it tells you about how the AI industry actually works, not how it describes itself. Let me start with the company, because it is important to name it clearly. The organization behind Project Panama is Anthropic, the maker of Claude. Anthropic is not a fringe AI company. It is one of the most prominent AI labs in the world, founded by former OpenAI employees, backed by Amazon, and widely considered to be among the most serious organizations working on AI safety. Which is precisely why this story is interesting. The most safety-conscious major AI lab in the world ran an operation to, in its own words, destructively scan all the books in the world, and tried to keep it quiet. Here is how it worked, in the detail that matters. In February of 2024, Anthropic hired a man named Tom Turvey to lead the effort. Turvey was not a random technology hire. He was the former head of partnerships for Google Books, the same massive book digitization project that Google ran starting in 2004, which scanned and indexed millions of volumes from library collections. Anthropic brought him in specifically because Google Books had established legal precedents for large-scale digitization, and because he knew how to run an operation at that scale. What Anthropic built was something different from Google Books in one crucial respect. Google largely used non-destructive scanning, overhead cameras or V-shaped imaging systems that could photograph pages without damaging the physical book, which libraries then got back. Anthropic chose the destructive route. Court documents describe the process. Purchase books in bulk, bring them to scanning facilities, use a hydraulic-powered cutting machine to remove the spines, separate the pages, feed them through high-speed industrial scanners, and then discard the originals. The paper goes into the bin. The digital file goes into an internal research library used to train Claude. An internal planning document, unsealed as part of the legal filings, stated the mission plainly. Quote, Project Panama is our effort to destructively scan all the books in the world. The same document included a line about secrecy. Quote, we use a soft code name for it because we do not want it to be known that we are working on this. That line, once it was public, became the center of gravity for the entire controversy, because it is one thing to scan books at scale. It is another to document, in writing, your awareness that you do not want people to know. Now I want to be precise here, because precision is exactly what the coverage often lacks. Anthropic disputes the framing of rare books being destroyed. A spokesperson told Snopes, which fact-checked the story, that none of their data acquisition programs buy and destroy rare or antiquarian books. They drew a distinction between valuable collectibles and simply hard-to-find books, like out-of-print academic texts, in humanities, sciences, and social sciences. That distinction matters, and I want to give it to you because it is what Anthropic actually said, not what some people have implied they said. However, reporting from 404 Media and others, including an investigation that tracked rare book shipments using Apple AirTags to an Amazon AI processing facility, found a different picture. Used booksellers reported sudden spikes in bulk orders for seemingly random non-fiction titles, many of which were rare or out of print, with orders ranging from hundreds to thousands of books per transaction. One bookseller in the Netherlands told Fortune he went from selling no more than 20 books a week to hundreds, almost certainly to AI buyers given the purchase patterns. A bookseller told 404 Media that their inventory was full of rare and out-of-print titles, and that an AI company could be destroying some of the few remaining copies. So, the gap between what Anthropic says and what booksellers are observing is real, and it has not been fully resolved. The legal question was settled more clearly. In a case called Bartz vs. Anthropic, U.S. District Judge William Alsup ruled that digitizing legally purchased print books and using the resulting files to train AI, even when the originals were destroyed, constituted transformative fair use under copyright law. This was a significant win for Anthropic because it established that buying a book and then scanning and discarding it is, under current U.S. law, not a copyright violation. The judge's reasoning was that the company replaced print copies with digital versions without adding new copies or redistributing them. But there was a second part to the case, and it went differently. The same proceedings revealed that Anthropic had also downloaded more than 7 million pirated books to train Claude. This was not the physical scanning operation. This was straightforward piracy, downloading from sites like Library Genesis, which provides free access to books without author consent. According to the court filing, Anthropic's co-founder Ben Mann downloaded at least 5 million copies from Library Genesis in 2021, fully aware that the material was pirated. A year later, the company downloaded at least 2 million more from a separate source. The company paid a settlement of $1.5 billion to resolve the claims from authors, with individual payouts of approximately $3,000 per book. So the legal picture is this. The physical book shredding was ruled fair use. The piracy cost $1.5 billion. Now zoom out a little, because Project Panama is not a story just about one company. A service called ISBN.db, which maintains a database of more than 111 million cataloged books, has been advertising bulk acquisition services to AI clients. According to Futurism, the company explicitly offers to locate hundreds of thousands of titles while promising confidentiality for AI clients. Its own website, according to reporting, acknowledged that the optics problem is real and quoted the hypothetical headline, "AI company destroys 2 million books," is not a headline that generates sympathy. A company that aggregates and brokers book purchases specifically for AI labs at scale while offering anonymity to buyers is a commercial response to an industrial demand that now clearly exists. And Amazon employees, according to reporting from IB Times, are literally cutting the bindings off books in an Amazon AI processing facility, spending their workdays feeding pages into scanners. Not 1 or 2 books, thousands of books, every day. The industry-wide picture that emerges from reporting on this topic is that AI companies are facing a specific problem the internet has been trained on. Every major model has now ingested essentially all the available high-quality, publicly accessible web text. The pre-internet world, decades of books published before AI existed, contains a concentration of carefully written, expertly edited, human-generated text that is extraordinarily valuable for training. It is also, crucially, free of AI-generated content, which degrades model quality. Books published before 2022 are premium training material precisely because they predate generative AI. So the buying spree is not random. It is a systematic attempt to access the highest quality human writing that exists before it gets mixed up with AI output that would pollute the training pool. And because physically purchased books, unlike digital files, can be used under the first sale doctrine without triggering copyright liability, the industry has found a legal workaround that is, for now, holding up in court. What should you make of all this? A few honest observations. First, the legality and the ethics are not the same thing. A judge ruled that the physical scanning is fair use. That tells you something about copyright law. It does not tell you whether it is right to buy up out-of-print books, some of which may exist in only a few hundred copies, and shred them so their contents can become part of a commercial product. The authors whose work is in those books receive nothing from the physical acquisition. The companies building on that work generate billions in revenue. You can be in favor of AI development and still find that arrangement worth thinking about. Second, the secrecy angle matters more than the act itself. Companies scan books all the time. Google built an enormous project around it. The practice is not inherently scandalous. What the Project Panama internal document adds is explicit, written awareness that this would be negatively received, combined with a deliberate choice to keep it hidden. When you document your own desire to keep something secret, you invite exactly the scrutiny you were trying to avoid. Third, and this is the part that I think gets missed most often, this is not a story about a bad actor in an otherwise clean industry. It is a story about how competitive pressure operates at the frontier of AI development. Every major lab is trying to find high-quality training data. Every major lab is doing things that its public communications do not foreground. The difference here is that court filings made some of it visible. Most of what happens in this industry does not end up in court. What we see when we look at Project Panama is not a company that secretly hates books. It is a company that had a problem. It needed high-quality text data that it could not otherwise access at scale. And it solved the problem efficiently, legally, and quietly. The efficiency is real. The legality held up in court. The quiet part is the part that became a story. That is what this channel is for. Making the things that happen quietly visible before they are no longer news. If that is useful to you, subscribe and hit the bell, because we do this every week. And I want to hear your read in the comments. Is this just how industries work under competitive pressure, or is there something different about shredding books? Tell me. I read every single one. See you in the next video.